NFL Week 15 is upon us. We've got those primetime games, some barking dogs. We're going to check in with VR for the Steam report. And, of course, that Deli. Let's see how Barko did last week. We're going to follow it all up with some best bets up next on Bet On It. Welcome into Bet On It. Kelly Stewart here, Gianni the Greek, Marco D'Angelo. We're going to get right into NFL Week 15. Marco, you're stuck with this game, mainly because you picked it, and I don't know why. Thursday Night Football, Atlanta is a 5.5-point dog at Tampa Bay, 44.5. How the mighty have fallen. This team cost me one of the legs. It didn't matter. They both lost in my survivor pool last week. I am shocked at how poorly Tampa Bay has played over the last 6 weeks since I basically gave Baker Mayfield the MVP trophy.
You're the one that did it, Kelly? Okay. This is a spot where, at 4-9, Atlanta has nothing to play for, let's be honest. And it showed last week. They lost at home to Seattle in a lifeless effort, 37-9. But I always point out that teams that are out of it, they're going to show up for two types of games. They're going to show up for a division game where they can play spoiler to a division rival, or when they're on a primetime TV game, because nobody wants to be embarrassed. Well, they were embarrassed last week. Now they're on primetime this week. So they're going to show up for this one. Baker, as you alluded to, has not played well. He's been banged up over the last month, and the numbers reflect it. He's gone now 4 straight games passing for 200 or less yards. That's not what we saw in the beginning of the season with Baker, when all of us were talking about he was a legitimate MVP candidate. Yes, it's a must-win for Tampa Bay, but I really can't lay points with them right now. They're deadlocked with Carolina, so yes, it is a must-win. But this defense is getting worn down from Tampa. And the reason for that is the offense can't stay on the field long enough to give them that balance with time of possession. We all know the longer your defense is out there, the worse it's going to be, and it's starting to wear on them. They've given up 24 or more points now in 4 of their last 5 games. Tampa Bay, in their 7 wins this season, 5 of them have been by 3 points or less. I'm going to go ahead and take the dog that's got nothing to lose here. They're playing loose, playing spoiler, playing in front of the TV cameras to a team that's life and death. And those teams that need to win, Vegas is going to make you pay for it. I'll go ahead and take Atlanta plus the points here.
Okay, I'm going to go Sunday Night Football. And while I probably won't get involved in this game, I do feel like it's kind of interesting. I mentioned that Tampa Bay ruined my survivor hopes, and I was greatly considering taking Minnesota. Then that line went a little crazy with Jaden Daniels returning, and, well, I wussed out. And boy, did Minnesota make me pay. They looked like the Minnesota team that we thought they were supposed to be. They snapped a 4-game losing streak. JJ McCarthy, best game. And that's why I don't know if I really want to play them here, right? Marco loves to say no team is as bad as their worst game and no team is as good as their best. And so now I want to go, okay, Dallas looked poor on Thursday Night Football. They've got extra rest. Surely I can play them here. But I don't know. Dallas has been settling for a lot of field goals lately. I also would probably do the same if I had Brandon Aubrey, who could kick 60 yards without a doubt. But that offense coming to a screeching halt is concerning for me, especially as Minnesota's starts to progress. Now, keep an eye out. CeeDee Lamb, remember, he got hurt again, and that concerns me here if you're looking to lay points with this team. But I will say this, Dallas's defense is significantly better than what we saw from Washington. And that is going to be the difference maker here. I've got that one circled. Dallas being an underdog, now being a favorite and now asked to win by a margin is tough for me to get on board with. I lean Minnesota plus the 5.5, 6, depending on where you like to shop. And I also lean the under here. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. So there's a little bit of a preview on Sunday Night Football on maybe if I get on board with either one of these. But VR, I made you pick Monday Night Football. So you're going to have to break down this one for me. Miami is a 3.5-point favorite at Pittsburgh, 42.5. Talk to me about that Pittsburgh game last week. Yeah, the Dolphins beat the Jets. That's what they do. They just beat the Jets. That should have been expected. But man, Steelers, is that more of a testament to how well the Steelers team is starting to play? Or is it more of a testament to how poor the Ravens looked?
Well, yeah, because if you cover the box score, I don't think you're going to walk away with the conclusion that the Steelers were the better team. I mean, Steelers rushed for 34 yards on 17 carries compared to over 200 yards rushing for Baltimore. Also passing, Steelers passed for about 80 yards more. So in total yardage, Steelers had about 300 yards compared to over 400 for Baltimore. And then you look at even the return yardage. You look at everything pretty much in favor of Baltimore, even time of possession. But it was that red zone efficiency that cost them because they got into the red zone 6 times and only scored twice. That was the difference maker. You got to get it done in the red zone. And they also had, that one interception from Lamar Jackson. Now, disclaimer, I have not bet this game. In fact, the plays that I'm releasing on this week's Bet On It, they're not premium plays. I haven't released to subscribers. They're the leans that I have heading in. Right now on Bet On It, NFL 25-16-1. That's 60%. I'll take it. College football and NFL 58-27-1, about 70%. So far, so good. And here's the lean on this game. I got to look at the points with Miami because they're the better defense. I mean, you got a top 15 defense, even though they had a really soft strength of schedule. And that's what you want when you're getting points. A team that could keep it close and within margin. And when I look at the Steelers, they're barely a top 20 offense. They're barely a top 20 defense. Now, testament to them, they've done so with a top 15 strength of schedule, but they're coming off such a big win against division rival Baltimore. Oh, and guess what? They got Detroit up on deck. And granted, it's not a divisional or even conference game, but it is the Detroit Lions followed by divisional games with Cleveland and Baltimore. So a lot on deck for Pittsburgh. Don't expect them to overlook. It's Monday night. It's a primetime game. I get it. But I just think this Steelers team is a little bit overvalued right now. Power rating wise, I have them barely in the top 20. I have them maybe a slot and a half above Miami. My number I come up with is Steelers on a neutral field should be about a 0.5-point favorite at the most. I add about 1.75 for the Steelers home field advantage. That gets me to about minus 2.25 as a favorite. I'm able to get above that key number of 3. That's the way I'm looking. Again, haven't gotten to the window, but based on my power ratings and the matchup right now, I'd look to grab the 3.5 with the Dolphins.
All right, we're going to get right into that Steam Room VR, and we've got a little special just for those here on Bet On It. Marco's going to talk about it a little bit later, but VR, I want you to talk about yours and what everybody can do to get on board. No coupon code needed, wt.buzz/ace. 365. Let everybody know what they're going to get in that 1-year pass, normally priced at $19.99, now down to $11.88 or just $99 a month to partner up with you.
Yeah, it's like $3 a day, dude. Less than a cup of coffee for all this information. And that's exactly what I told Gianni. Now that we figured it out with the Steam sheet, I want even the most recreational bettor to get access to the sharpest stuff. So as a premium subscriber, you're already getting what I'm now narrowing down. And if you look, pretty much number 1 last 7, last 30, number 1 in college football. Since narrowing down those premiums, I'm very confident in what those results are going to be over the next 12 months. But also you get the Steam sheet with it every day, which is all the moves that I got down on for the groups I work with and ones that I trade with. And you may see that there's still value on the board. They may agree with your leans that you can still get down on that I haven't released as premium, but you still have access to all that information. NFL, college football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, tennis. I've put handball in there. I've put women's basketball, like any sharp stuff, winning stuff, you get that. And again, I'm looking for guys that want to partner over the next 12 months and do it right. Each week, you get a steam room. That's 4 a month. Only 1 is free. So you get the other 3 that no one else gets. And in those steam rooms, we go over all the plays, obviously, risk management. I'm there to answer all your questions, accountable for year-to-date results, and the game plan the rest of the way. Again, if you're using it as an investment vehicle and taking it seriously, $3 a day is the best it's going to get. Like I told Gianni, and don't do it for too long. Like it shouldn't be a hard decision. You see what we're doing. You see the results. If you're betting for profit, it's automatic, especially with the bowl games, college basketball ahead. Like there's just so much opportunity. And I'll give you some of that steam real quickly. This is what's been on the steam sheet. This has been in there since like Monday. Okay. Forget the bowl games. There's like 15 bowl plays already in there. Here's the NFL for Sunday. 456 Houston -6.5 and 7.5. 460 Jacksonville -10. 462 Chicago 6.5 and 7. Buffalo +2.5 and pick. Cincinnati +3. Seattle -4, 10, 11.5 and 12. Green Bay -1, 1.5. Rams -4.5 and 5.5. Minnesota +7.5 down to +6.5. And Miami, which I just touched on, at +3.5. That was already in there from like Monday night. So as soon as the information comes, steam sheet guys get it. Premium guys get it. Best deal you're ever going to get. Again, speaks for itself. Join the team. Steam room every Saturday or Sunday. A lot of fun over the next 12 months. We're going to do damage. That's the bottom line.
I love it. You can also catch VR on Last Call with Me on Saturdays. And we got a special treat. Marco D'Angelo is going to join us this week on Last Call. And of course, you can catch VR on Sundays with Ariel Epstein, going over all that NFL steam before his steam room. Marco, we got some barking dogs this week, and I know VR and I kind of alluded to maybe like in the Miami side. You're going full on in. Miami is winning this game outright against your Steelers, or what?
All right.
Yep, Kelly, I'm going with you guys always tell me, don't be a homer. I'm not a homer. I did give you Pittsburgh last week on a different show. We did on WagerTalk today on Friday. I told everybody that Pittsburgh was the side. It wasn't pretty, but they got the job done. Now I'm going to go against them this week. And here why. You look at Pittsburgh, they were an upset winner. 5.5-point underdog. They win. Now they switch roles and they're a favorite. I never like that situation. I always like to look to the dog when a team is going from a dog to a favorite off a win. Pittsburgh was able to connect on a few plays last week, and it was funny that on the first one, the announcer said that is the first deep pass in over a month for the Steelers when Aaron Rodgers hit DK Metcalf. They hadn't had a pass play that traveled over 20 yards, not counting a catch and run, out of the backfield, a downfield pass. So that's how bad the Pittsburgh offense has been in recent weeks. There was a controversial call in last week's game. VR already told you about the stats, how it was one-sided. There was a controversial TD with under 3 minutes to play in that game that actually would have gave Baltimore the lead, but they overturned it. The yardage was there. I am looking at Miami. This is a team that we put them for dead maybe a month ago. Coach was going to be fired, all of that. Well, they're playing hard right now. And I didn't think the coach would make the season, but they're playing for him. They're one game under 500. And I know, why do I even bring that up? Well, that's a little angle that I do like late in the season in professional or college football, or any sport. When you're late in a season and you're at that game when you're one game under 500 and your next performance can get you to that 500 mark, that means you're no longer a loser. That is a mental motivational edge for teams. So I'm throwing that in there as well. And you look at the games that they've been playing, they're dominating on the ground. They have rushed for 164 yards or more in 4 straight games. Hello, if you've been watching the Pittsburgh Steelers, they can't stop the run. This is 2 weeks in a row. Buffalo ran for 249 against the Steeler defense with 2 offensive linemen out 2 weeks ago. Last week, Baltimore rushed for 202. I am going to look for Miami to come into Pittsburgh on Monday Night Football and get the job done. This is an upset alert. we're going ahead, taking Miami plus the points, but this dog is going to bark loud on Monday night. So definitely put that little sprinkle on the Dolphins as well.
Yeah, and that's what VR is doing to you. He's making your dog look super little right now. I just opened the script. VR, are you insane?
Here's why. Listen, Kel, here's why. Here's why.
He's older than me, off his couch.
Here's why. Hear me out. Hear me out. I've given 3 NFL games to subscribers as premiums, as 4% plays, strong plays. One of them will be upgraded to a 5%. They're that strong of plays. Only one of them is a dog. So I can't do that to my subscribers by getting it out there now. Still got it confirmed. So the next strongest lean I have on a dog is this one. I have to release it. I got to be honest with the viewers. And it's the Indianapolis Colts. I get it. I get the situation. But look at the adjustment. We're looking at a 9-point adjustment already. And this one's going to continue to climb, rest assured, because all the talk will be exactly what you touched on. Coming in off the couch, not prepared. Not only is it Riley Leonard, now they brought in Rippon as the only 2 active quarterbacks. And Leonard's already dealing with a knee injury. We know all of that. All of that is understood. We get it. But the number is the ultimate thing we need to pay attention to and focus on. And right now you're telling me that the drop off is upwards of 10 points. And I just do not think that's warranted. That's a lot in the NFL. There's 40 plus players. 50 players are going to affect the outcome of that game. I know the quarterback is a key component, but only to a certain degree. And even though Daniel Jones is top 5 in passing success rate, which is very, very important, that coupled with him having such a big year is why this adjustment is so significant. But again, I think the initial move, yeah, it's warranted. Take it up from -4, 4.5 to -8.5, 9.5, even 10. But since then, it's been nothing but noise that continues to push this up. And by Sunday, we're going to be getting upwards of 2 touchdowns. Now, granted, are they going to win the game outright? Probably not. But you're talking about the Indianapolis Colts here. Like, it's not the Tennessee Titans that all of us, like, you expect them to lose by 30 anyway. This is an 8-5 football team. Like, this is a good quality team in the Colts. I get it. They've lost 3 straight games. 3 of their last 4 and 4 of the last 5, in fact. But 3 of those have been by 1 score. And it's that last week loss to Jacksonville where it looks like the wheels fell off, where they found themselves 28-10 behind, that now it's, oh, look what happened. He's gone. They lose by 3 touchdowns. That's exactly what's going to happen this week. I wouldn't be too sure of it. Again, I know how good Seattle is, and that's where we're benefiting here, because Seattle is a 10-3 football team, because Seattle is a top 2-3 power rated team. That's why this line's going to keep climbing. And that's where we get into true plus EV. Doesn't mean we're going to cash a ticket, but I'm very confident getting anything more than 11.5 with the Indianapolis Colts. That would be an adjustment of over a touchdown for Daniel Jones. I think that's as high as you get. So these extra 2 points that we're getting is already a gift. And I'm pretty sure this is going to get up over 14 because of all the 10-point teasers, because of all the money line parlays, all the money that's going to be on the Seattle, where they think this is automatic. All Seattle has to do is show up. Look, they just beat Atlanta by 30. They just beat Minnesota by 26. This is nothing for them. They beat Arizona by 20. Be careful. The Rams are on deck. That's the game that matters for Seattle. It's not this one. They're going to overlook Indianapolis, and Colts are going to backdoor cover and screw it up for everybody.
Ooh, okay, fine. Well, hopefully a team that doesn't need a backdoor cover and is barking in terms of winning outright is the Detroit Lions. VR just mentioned how good the Rams looked last week, and they look like they're the number 1 team in the AFC. Yep. But did we forget about the week before when they waltzed into Carolina and lost as a double-digit favorite?
Well said.
Now they're 7-1 straight up, 6-2 against the spread. I just am not sure this line isn't a smidge too high. I made this game 4. Looking into it at 5.5, do we see a 6? Look, it's Dan Campbell and the Lions. Every once in a while, they can flip that switch, and we saw them do it last week against the Cowboys, especially in the underdog role. I'm going to go ahead and guess. We talk about all the time which coaches know the spread. I feel like Dan Campbell's one of those coaches, and that's maybe why he's so good as an underdog. Now, this year, we have seen some regression. He's just 1-3 as a dog this year, but overall in his career, 11-4. I like this line. You guys know it. Those 5.5s get me every single time. Come on in. You know, you want to back the Lions. So I'm going to do it, and I'm going to take them here in the Rams off an absolute route. Kind of going back to what Marco says. Maybe the Rams aren't as good as the team that we saw just beat the ever-living crap out of the Arizona Cardinals. And who did VR say? Oh, wait, that's right. They got the Seattle Seahawks on deck. I don't know if Marco put that in the sandwich game or not, but man, his sandwiches have been doing so good. Those deli sandwiches have not been stinky. There's no weird cheese. There's no nothing gross. Marco, 39-28 on the season. If you guys are watching here on Bet On, as well as the standalone segment here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Marco, let's hear it. Who is the sandwich game for NFL Week 15?
Yum.
Well, a lot of you thought last week we had a stinky one when we had Minnesota after what they did the week before. What'd they do? 31-0 last week. Well, you might have to hold your nose again this week, but I'm going to start with a disclaimer. Please listen. For all those Chicago Bear people out there, I am not picking on Chicago. I am not saying anything bad about your Chicago Bears. I am talking about the situation. And what we're looking at, and as I say over and over again on the show, when we get to these type of plays, you've got to trust the process. Well, we got Chicago that just played the biggest game of the year last week. That might have been the biggest game for the Bears in how many years as far as relevance goes. And what I mean by that is, had Chicago won that game last week, they would have had a 1.5 game lead on the Green Bay Packers with just 4 games left. And they would have had one more meeting with Green Bay in Chicago. With just 4 games left, they owned the tiebreaker. They would have been in the driver's seat, but they lost a tough game. And they lost it in gut-wrenching fashion. A 4th and 1 in the waning seconds of the game, deep in Green Bay territory, they throw an interception in the end zone. That's a tough loss to pick yourself up off the mat. How many times do we say, and this is clearly one of those spots, they got to be careful they don't lose the same game twice. I don't care who they would be playing next week. This would be a candidate to go against Chicago this week. The fact that they are playing Green Bay next week, can you get any bigger of a sandwich? You played Green Bay last week for first place. You're going to be playing Green Bay for first place again next week. Yes, I know people are going to say, well, if they don't win this week, it doesn't matter about next week. Yeah, that's true. But they just have to win. They don't have to win by a margin. This isn't college football. They need style points. I'm going to look to the sandwich of all sandwiches and take Cleveland plus the points. What's the other adage I always tell you guys? Take the better defense getting points. That's the one thing that's been consistent with Cleveland until last week in that game with Tennessee, where you did have some points scored. There were some big plays in that game. But for the most part, all year long, this Cleveland defense has played well, and I think they're going to play well again. And as much as we made fun of Deion's kid, Shedeur Sanders, he's improving by the week for Cleveland. He made some big plays last week, and they only lost by a 2-point conversion. I think they're going to be up for this one to play the role of spoiler against Chicago. I'll take the points. We're getting over a touchdown. I'm not ready for Chicago to be laying that kind of number in a must-win situation with a monster game on deck. Let's go ahead and take Cleveland plus the points as this week's sandwich special from the Deli.
Marco, let's run it back real quick. I want to know what you've got going on over at WagerTalk.com, wt.buzz /Marco365. Is it the same as VR?
It's the same as VR. We're running this. It's a special deal. Now, guys, if you go look and try to find this on the site, it's not there because the price is $19.99. We're doing this for you guys, the Bet On It family. You guys have been with us all year, and we love it. We love the comments that you leave us every week in the YouTube channel. We try to get in there and answer as many questions as we can. We appreciate all those thumbs up. So this is a thank you for you guys, Christmas present for you guys. You're going to be able to pick up VR or myself, and I highly recommend getting both of us for the entire year, 365 days, nonstop action for just $1,188 if you go to the secret link. And that link is wt.buzz /Marco365. For Ace, you just go in and do the same thing, only /Ace365. It'll take you directly to this hidden cell where you can purchase it for $1,188. That is Wager Talks. Thank you for watching Bet On It. We really appreciate you guys. So take advantage of it. You'll get all of our plays, and we have been running absolutely on fire. It's been a 6-7 week run for us going back.
You just love getting in that 6-7 reference. I can't with you anymore. That's your new thing. 6-7's a new 69 for Marco.
You know, Kelly, I didn't even realize until you said it there that I got that one in there. Yes, but it has been a big run for us over the last 6 to 7 weeks. So, 6-7. But we're up over 73 units for our clients. That's $7,300, playing just $100 per unit. We only release 1 to 3 plays on average per day and a little more on the weekend. So we're not high volume. So, you're not overextending your bankroll. We give you the quality plays, and it's worked well for us. And if you want action, get VR. He brings you a lot more action than I do, but yet we're running 1-2 in money one. So it's like, the old saying, you want the tortoise or the hare, which one you want? We're both getting to the finish line. Take advantage of that 365 offer from both of us, Kelly. So that's what's going on this week over at Wager Talk. And full disclosure, we finally lost a 5% play last week. It was on the Indianapolis Colts with Daniel Jones going down. No excuses. They lost the game, but I'll still take that 40-17 mark on 5% plays. You'll get all of those in that package as well.
All right, let's get into those best bets. VR took mine, so I'm going to let him go first. And listen, guys, I give the guys a little behind the scenes disclosure. I give the guys first dibs to put in the games, right? I'm the host, but I enjoy getting to give my opinions as well. VR immediately put this one in there, and I thought, damn it, I love this play. Green Bay over my Denver Broncos. I told Teddy this week on the opening line report, this one reeked to the high. The second I saw this line, I was like, I'm betting it now.
Now, you might have just confirmed it for me because, like I said, this week, unfortunately, another free plays are premium because I only gave out 3 so far to subscribers, and one of them is going to be upgraded. But this is a strong lean, and with you liking it as well, you're probably going to have me get to the window and confirm it because I do like Green Bay. I'll tell you the only thing that has kept me from it so far. Number one, I like the way they set up. They just played Chicago. Like Marco touched on, they have Chicago on deck. A lot will think they're going to overlook this game. But dude, it matters so much right now at the end of the season, especially going into that game next week with Chicago. And you still don't know exactly what Chicago is going to do this week. So to think Green Bay is just going to pack it in and look towards next week is ridiculous. Now, I look at this Green Bay team. Very respectable road record. In fact, 6 games on the road, they've only lost 1. And that's going to matter because they're going into Denver, which has a real strong home field advantage. Why? They haven't lost a single game in Denver this year. 6-0 there compared to 5-2 on the road. So we like the home field advantage for Denver. Here's the problem with the Broncos. Their offense is bottom tier. So they're in the bottom 10 offensively as far as efficiency goes. And yet they've had the 31st toughest schedule. So only one team has had an easier schedule than the Denver Broncos, and yet offensively, they're really struggling. But it's the defensive side of the ball that's very impressive. They're top 10. I have them about 8th in efficiency. A couple different data points go into that number. They're around 8th right now. But again, that's with the 31st toughest schedule. Now they're playing a Green Bay team, top 10 offensively, top 5 defensively, and a tougher strength of schedule than the Denver Broncos. Again, Green Bay's strength of schedule hasn't been the toughest either, but it is tougher than Denver. So I have the better offense, the better defense, both statistically done so with the tougher strength of schedule. So what's the power rating say? Well, it says on a neutral field, Green Bay should be about a 4.5-point favorite over the Denver Broncos, 4.5. What's the home field advantage worth for Denver? It's about 1.9. Let's just round it off to 2. So 4.5 minus 2 makes Denver about a 2.5 point, Green Bay about 2.5 point favorite on the road. That's what the line is at right now. So line value wise isn't there for me. That's why I haven't released a premium yet, but all the factors surrounding it give me the nod on the Green Bay side. So I probably will get to the window with them, especially if I see it drop, to 2, and I do see that possibility coming out there, because I even see it right now. 2 minus 11 at Pinnacle, 2 minus 15 at Bet Online. So I do expect some Denver money, and we may get Green Bay discounted. I will add this, though. Don't be surprised if you see Denver on my teaser list, because right now they qualify. The spread's around 1.5, 2.5, what we're looking for, and more importantly, the low total. So for me, teasers, you know how I play them. I don't care about my opinion. I'm just teasing numbers. So even if I have a bet on Green Bay, if it's in that 2.5 range, I will have a Denver teaser as well.
Well, absolutely, VR. Just like last week, I had the Saints plus 8.5. I used Tampa Bay in Survivor, and then I also teased Tampa Bay down. I mean, these
exactly
mathematically there are.
You're doing it to make money, not to be right.
Exactly, and I also am going to tease the Denver Broncos. I think this is a touchdown game, just like last week. I found a 0.5 point better with the Packers. Took it. I think this could even be a field goal game, and we will all gladly take a 24-21 final there in Denver. Marco, you are up next, and you have another team total for us here. I kind of talked about this game already on Sunday Night Football. You're saying take the Dallas over. Talk to me about maybe I don't want to take the under in that football game then on Sunday night.
Well, Kelly, we're just talking about one team here. We're talking about the Cowboys, and this has been a favorite situation of us that has worked all year every time we've used it, much to the dismay of some people that don't like to bet team totals and cash winning tickets. But the formula is simple. We take a good offensive team that's off a loss to bounce back with a big effort at home. Well, Dallas had won 3 in a row, scoring 33, 24, and 31 points. Last week in defeat, they scored 30 points. They're back home where they have been rolling. They're indoors on a fast track against a team that just won 31-0. We were on Minnesota last week. Why were we on Minnesota last week? Well, because we were going against Washington. Washington was coming off that Sunday Night Football game when they gave a big effort, a team that had nothing to play for, but was playing a primetime game. And they gave the Denver Broncos everything they could handle. Game went to overtime. They scored touchdown. Instead of kicking the extra point to tie the game, they went for the win as they were supposed to with a team with the record they had, and they failed. So they were in a horrible spot last week coming off of that, and Minnesota took advantage of it. This week, it's Minnesota in the horrible spot. I'll take Dallas to score. And the other part of it is you're going to see, you alluded to it when you talked about this game, Kelly, about Dallas settling for some field goals. The reason Dallas settled for some field goals last week, yes, they've got a great field goal kicker. It's because, and I'm going to quote the late Dennis Green, he is who we thought he was. George Pickens decided to take plays off last week. That's why they didn't score touchdowns. He was wide open on plays if he runs the route. He quit on the plays. So that 30 points they scored in defeat last week very easily could have been 40 plus. What's it going to be this week against a depleted Minnesota team? Yeah, Minnesota's got a good defense. We saw that last week against Washington that, lost Daniels again in that game. That won't be the case against this team. And if I'm Mr. Pickens, we saw this show in Pittsburgh already. The last thing you should be doing in a contract year, idiot, is taking plays off if you want to get paid. That's not how you get paid. Look for a big game from the Cowboys offense. We're going over what I think is the very soft number of 27.5. They have no problem getting into the 30s in this one. Team total, Dallas over.
Ooh, okay. All right. I'm on board. And another thing I'm on board with is to continue to bet against the Kansas City Chiefs. Last week, I gave you guys the barking dog of the Texans, and that one was virtually no sweat, unlike my best bet of the Denver Broncos. Anyway, we're going to bet against the Chiefs, and why shouldn't we? This is a Chiefs team that I've been betting against all year long, starting back with the Eagles in the Super Bowl. We have seen regression hit this team like a ton of bricks. These two played week 1, if you guys remember, in Brazil, and the Chargers won that game. But now in the last 5 games, Kansas City 1-4 straight up, 0-5 against the spread in the last 6 games. And I saw guys that I respected very much so say, yeah, but if the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs, they had to win last week. Well, yeah, if the Chiefs want to make the playoffs, they have to win this week. Guys, I also bet 3-1 on the Chiefs not to make the playoffs because they're not going to make the playoffs. The Chargers, on the other hand, have won 5 of their last 6, including, if you guys remember, just against the Eagles there in overtime on Monday night. Now, there was a lot of turnovers in that game. There's a lot of wonky stuff that happened, but I'm sure the Chargers will gladly take the prime time win. The only little asterisk here is Justin Herbert. I do have some concerns about his hand, but I think he's going to be okay. He didn't do any further damage to them, but we think that they can run the ball and take some of the pressure there off Herbert. As I mentioned last week while we were betting against the Chiefs, and that was because of how banged up the offensive line has. Josh Simmons, Wayne Morris, both been ruled out already. Jawan Taylor still hurt. Trey Smith, questionable after missing every single practice last week. 7 of the last 8 games for the Chiefs have gone under the total, and I know why everybody's going to want to bet the under here because, again, Herbert was sacked a bunch last week. Their offense wasn't generating a ton, but going back to that under, that makes points as a premium. Could the Chiefs win this game by a field goal and me not be surprised? Sure. That's why I did not put this team as my barking dog. I made them my best bet. Plus 4.5 for the Chargers. I already cashed that under 11.5 wins. So I don't care if the Chiefs win. I don't care if the Chiefs fans are mad at me for this season. Go ahead and get in the comment section and let me know. Bring it on, baby. I can't wait to cash that no playoffs ticket. Guys, I can't wait to continue cashing tickets with both of you being red hot here on Bet On It. VR, shout out to you. Shout out to Marco D'Angelo. Marco Barko, as the comment section still love to say, because he's been cashing some of those really nice outright underdogs. And, of course, if you guys are looking for Army-Navy, you guys are looking for college football playoff, you guys are looking for bowl games, you guys can hang out right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Mega show right here. College football show right here. And until next week, let's bet on it.